Hey, welcome. This is Jerry Zelada, 1967 graduate, as you all are. And Oregon has been really good to me. I moved here in 1980, and bicycling is a big aspect of my life. Involved in politics, worked for the Department of Transportation as a bicycle and pedestrian advocate for almost 8 years. As part of the public process. And this is the Columbia Gorge that you're looking at, and this is a ride that I took several years ago. And just surveying the gorge. The gorge was created by a huge Missoula flood from Missoula, Montana, and just ripped down this area and created all these banks, these very deep gorges. We're going to be riding down this highway in just a moment or two. This is my old days, my first public introduction in 1955, sitting on an ice cube from the ice factory over on Western Avenue. And this is back to the Rowena Crest, excuse me. Again, ice chunks slammed up against this and created this incredible gorge. So we're going to start the ride, and this is a very eastern part of the gorge. The western part is very much more wet, much more green. This is entering the high plateau, the high desert as we call it. And you're going to be looking down the Columbia River here as it flows from the east to the west and out to the Pacific Ocean. This is one of my favorite rides. Oregon is a very outdoor place. We spend a lot of time outdoors on the weekend. And this is just this wonderful bluff where you can see way towards Idaho. This is a great curvy road, as you saw earlier. Those horseshoe loops, switchbacks, and we are just tooling down the highway. This is probably 18 miles an hour. And we're going to accelerate a little bit after this guy and continue down. This is one of the big loops, and you're going to see big basalt cliffs straight ahead towards the left of the screen. So I practice optometry since '91 in this town. I moved here in '80, like I said. Moved to Boston for a couple of years and really wanted to come back to Portland. As we turn this curve, we're going to see from whence we came. We were on the top of that bluff just a few moments ago, and that curve of the road up there was where we just came from. And we're going to continue down and down. We're probably gathering speed maybe 21 miles an hour here. This is a wide-angle lens, so it gets not as fast as one would imagine, but you're actually going faster. Another big bluff that we just saw earlier, getting a little bit closer. You can see how high they really are. In the springtime, the Columbia Gorge is filled with flowers, and it is a great hiking place. So you probably know that I moved to Mattoon at the age of 5, and in those days I really wanted to be a cowboy, but the cowboy was short-lived, and ended up in 6th grade getting a real bicycle, a Schwinn Hornet bicycle, and that really set me to loving bicycling. And the other big monumental thing that I remember from especially high school was Larry Hart, and of course Bob Sampson on the right, little skinny Bob and little skinny Jerry, and Mr. Larry in between. Several years later, at the age of 25, I biked across from New York to Illinois, and then in 1982 I biked from Oregon to New York City, and that's the George Washington Bridge in the background. This is my practice. In front of my practice, I got a vanity rack in the shape of eyeglasses for that. And this is Martine. Martine and I have been together about 15 years, and we have traveled quite a bit. Moved someone else in a little VW from California, which was sort of fun and silly. We've traveled to England and biked across England along Hadrian's Wall. And this is part of the biking in England and the little tiny towns that we stopped in. We also went back to El Salvador. This is Martine running with the bulls. And we have a friend who owns a coffee plantations, and these are guys loading up the truck with coffee berries, which are wonderfully red, and some of the traditional family members who pick coffee for all of us up north here. This proves that bicycling is actually more safe than backing up on a ridge. And we also tried skiing, which is fun because we have a huge mountain, big volcano, Mount Hood. But we found that skiing with snowshoes was actually more to our taste, but it didn't work very well. And then this is the real Crater Lake, which is just an incredible place to go. We've been other places, Brooklyn Bridge, of course, you probably know, and the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. My little bicycle has also been there. So, also Barcelona, beautiful tile work. That's many different imagery throughout the city. This is my stepdaughter, and I'm trying on her birthing mask made out of plaster of Paris. And this is a product of her, little tiny baby, and even tinier thumbs than my thumb. It's just amazing, as I'm sure you've all experienced with people being born in your families. Back to Amsterdam, we went from Brussels up the coast to Amsterdam, just lovely biking all the way up. And we were able to have a 4-hour lunch with Jacqueline Tandu as we sat and discovered what really happened in Mattoon during her year and the trials. So this is Martine, my dinner partner, my lover, my go-to person. This is yours truly. And I hope you all have a great reunion as you continue on. And think of us out here in Oregon. Come to Oregon. Happy to see you. We can guide you. We know just about everything within Oregon. And I think the message is always be active, be well, and have a great reunion. So see you someday, perhaps. Bye-bye.